I'm delighted to welcome on stage the co-founder of Wikipedia, Jimmy Wales. And I'm your host for this session.
Great. Well, before we start, I just want to say I didn't know that Ariana had a new book coming out, but Ariana has changed my life. Ariana, I think she's still walking out the door by telling me to get some sleep. And I took her advice, and I follow her advice, and I actually sleep quite a lot. And it's made me more productive and smarter, or less dumb.
I think there's a lot of people in the world that need a lot more sleep, and certainly I can think of a few people causing a few troubles in the world that could do that. Jimmy, it's been an incredible journey, and I think a little round of applause might be in order, because it's actually Wikipedia's 15th anniversary, 15 years. So
it's wonderful. Yeah.
How does it feel?
Great. I mean, it's really amazing that we keep on doing what we do, and the central mission, the vision of Wikipedia, a free encyclopedia for everyone on the planet in their own language, has always been our goal, continues to be our goal. It's the only thing we do. We're really focused on that mission.
I mean, when you started out, did you think it would last that long, or what did you think?
Well, I always say I'm a pathologically optimistic person. So I thought it'd be great. I thought it would last forever. So, but more realistically speaking, you never know. Of course, I mean, we started Wikipedia really in the depths of the .com crash.
2000.
So, 2000. It was a tough time, and you didn't really know what was going to happen. Except that I think we all knew and understood. It's not like, the internet wasn't like CB radio, a fad that was going to go away. It was obviously a fundamental shift, and yes, things got crazy, and then things got crazy on the downside. But we knew that I knew the internet would be incredibly important and huge, and so I was confident. Yeah. What
sort of role do you think that Wikipedia and the kinds of things that you do can fulfill here at Davos and at WEF? I mean, do you feel you're in a position where you can advise some of these very high up people?
I try. I don't know if they listen, but I mean, one of the reasons that I come to Davos is that really, I think I like to talk to and meet with political leaders to emphasize to them the importance of understanding technology, because a lot of the really bad, evil, horrible things that they try to do or want to do stem in part from bad motives, perhaps, but they stem, I think, just as much from just absolute ignorance about how the internet works.
You've criticized, in particular, British parliamentarians for not being up to speed.
It's because I live there, so. But yeah, I mean, when you hear something like David Cameron saying we should, ban encryption or ban end-to-end encryption, and you're just like that's just so incredibly stupid, because it's not even a policy option that's open to you. You can't ban encryption. It's math, so.
You can't ban math.
You can't ban math. That's just a fact, and so therefore you just think, who's advising
but then
why don't you listen to technologists?
I suppose because of recent events, things like in Paris, in Paris recently, awful events like that. I suppose the pushback from the politicians is, hold on a second, we've got an open society here. We've got to kind of go after the bad guys somehow.
Yeah.
What are you guys over in the tech community going to give us? What's your usual answers then?
Yeah, I mean, well, one of the things I say is that the following logic is a fallacy. We must do something. This is something. We must do this. It makes no sense. And so the idea that pressure on them to do something and then finding something very simple and say, oh, this is something, let's just do it, is bad policy. I mean, it's a lot of it is about making sure that they understand it. We have lots of perfectly good companies who are engaged in, at Wikipedia, if we get a proper legal subpoena, everything should go according to, get a court order, get a warrant, get a judge involved. The same thing would be true, Google, Facebook, everybody obeys the law. But the thing that they need to understand is that that the technology of public key encryption, it exists. It's in the world. People can use it. It's not. You don't have to be a mathematician or cryptographer to use it. People will use it. That's a fact that tech companies don't have the power to change. No one has the power to change that. And therefore, if your sort of strategy for dealing with terrorism involves thinking you're going to spy on everybody's messages, you're just barking up the wrong tree. It's not possible. And so therefore, we need to say, okay, look, you need to go back to the drawing board, and there's lots of old-fashioned police work that needs to be done. And so instead of investing billions in trying to collect everybody's communications, which is definitely not going to work, you should be thinking about, other things, and thinking about, if we really want to solve the problem of terrorism, it's not solved by spying on everybody in the world. It's solved by solving the problems that are leading to terrorism, and that's a much more fundamental issue.
Very good point. And famously, the Paris attacks were all planned on phones that were thrown away, all done over SMS.
Oh yeah, I mean, everybody saw The Wire. You just get burners, and
Exactly.
I mean, it's the thing is, it's impossible to monitor everything everybody's saying. I mean, the mafia, back, go and watch old episodes of The Sopranos or whatever. They talk in code words. Everybody, they understood they were being listened to. They could still plan things. You just be careful what you say on the phone. It's not that hard,
Drawing you back to Wikipedia, I mean, one of the hottest topics of the recent times, last couple of years, and one of really big topic that's here at Davos is the rise of artificial intelligence and how that's going to impact business, jobs, society generally. Driverless cars, of course, could end up taking out swathes of the economy, or perhaps leading to new forms of economic development. But I mean, what do you think about that kind of issue, artificial intelligence? For instance, could it replace Wikipedia? Siri knows everything now, or something like that.
Yeah, Siri knows everything because Siri read Wikipedia, so a little bit of cheating went on there. But basically, what I would say is, writing, making editorial judgments, you'll like this as a writer, is one of the highest human activities. It's not something that is easily replaceable with artificial intelligence. It will be, by the time a computer could make the kinds of real value judgments, editorial judgments that are involved in writing a Wikipedia entry, we're going to be at the singularity. I mean, they are as smart as we are, and that's a whole world that we could have a whole conference, and people do, talking about that. In the short term, into the medium term, it just seems very unlikely that artificial, so things like people say, what about machine translation, right? So machine translation gets better every year, that's for sure. But when we look at Wikipedia and we think, well, how useful will that be to our community of writers? And the answer is, generally, it's not very useful. So the language pairs that are getting to be kind of pretty good are in what you might call the economically important languages, and we have thousands of people editing those. Where we need help is in languages like Zulu, where we have only a very tiny Wikipedia. Of course, machine translation from English to Zulu is incredibly bad, and nobody's investing any money in it for all the obvious reasons, whereas English to Spanish, there's a huge sort of commercial demand for that. And so that's not going to help much. I mean, every year that it gets better, the editors do find it more useful than they used to.
So you actually feel that it's not, rather than replacing, it will simply enhance the kind of thing that Wikipedia will be.
Exactly. And there are things like, the smarter we get. I mean, one of the things that we see today is, 15 years ago, well, let's say 10 years ago. 10 years ago, if you went to Google and you typed, how old is Tom Cruise, then the answer that came back was probably a link to Wikipedia and a bunch of fan sites or whatever, Now, Google just tells you how old Tom Cruise is, again, because they read Wikipedia, and so they know that sort of thing. And so that kind of enhancement of the intelligence, so to speak, of these systems is having an impact already.
With Wikipedia, I mean, in a way, it's maintained its independence and its longevity, partly because of its business model of donations and people supporting it. I mean, constantly you're asked, when is there going to be advertising on Wikipedia, and the advertising model and the business model. To some extent, do you think it's going to have to evolve, or do you think you're set where you are?
We hope not. Certainly. So what we see is that the donation model works really, really well for us. We have to take fundraising very seriously. Obviously, we could bring in a lot more money if we did various things, but it would be very contrary to our spirit of our mission. I mean, we're a charity. We're giving a free encyclopedia to everyone. Our goal is not to maximize revenue. Our goal is to get enough money to do the things we need to do. But we've never said absolutely, as a matter of principle, we will never have advertising. We just don't want to. And as long as we can avoid it, we will. And I think we will. I don't see any reason why we would have to or why we would find that appealing.
And of course, actually, it's interesting that the advertising industry is now grappling with ad blocking as well now.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Maybe that's not necessarily going to work either.
Yeah, no, and at Wikia, my for-profit company, we do have advertising, and that works very well as a business model for us. And we do grapple with what to do with ad blocking and things like that.
You yourself have moved into other areas as well as doing Wikipedia. You're now famously involved in an organisation called the People's Operator, TPO.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of people probably not familiar with that, so perhaps it would be great if you just mention how that works and, I mean, what you hope to achieve with it.
Yeah, great. So the People's Operator is a mobile phone company. So to be technical about it, we're a mobile virtual network operator. So in the UK, we're partnered with 3 and EE. In the US, we're partnered with Sprint and T-Mobile. And when you come to us and switch your phone service to us, 10% of your bill goes to the cause of your choice. You can pick any charity. 25% of the company's profits go to charity. Our prices are good value in the marketplace. So, same price as everybody. How do we afford that is the question. And the answer is it comes out of the marketing budget. We can't afford billboards, TV commercials, and so on. And we have to spread virally word of mouth and also by people who are trying to raise money. So you can go on the platform. We've just released some new functionality, which is very much in early stages, minimum viable product level, but where you can, sign up your friends and sort of create a cause page, like a Kickstarter type of page, to raise money for something that you care about. And it can be just about anything. So we're doing really, really well in the UK. We've not been launched for very long in the US, so still a lot of work going on there.
You're not selling your own phones, are you?
No own phones.
Just get a SIM card?
Just get your SIM card and you're off to go. And so, it's for a lot of people, it's kind of a no-brainer. If it's the same price as what you're paying already, and if you think it through and you go, well, look, if I stay with such and such a phone company, some chunk of my money is going to go to paying for the Super Bowl commercials. And if I switch here, some chunk of my money is going to go to something I pick. And that has a lot of appeal to people. Of course, growth takes time because nobody's heard of it and we can't afford to spend hundreds of millions, which many mobile virtual network operators have spent heroic amounts of money. There's been some real flameouts in that business.
So do you think it's the sort of thing that can take off in a viral manner?
Yeah, exactly. That's the idea. Is that people tell their friends. They spread the word through Facebook, Twitter. We have a social platform where people can share the word and so forth. So, pretty interesting. So I'm not the CEO. I never like being the CEO of anything. So I'm the chairman of the board and dabble in advising and so forth.
So I mean, what are some of the other things that you're interested in right now? I mean, for instance, the refugee crisis is very much at the front of mind here at Davos and at WEF. And a lot of people talking about it. Wikipedia is all about giving free access to information. What sort of things are you thinking about in that issue?
Yeah, I mean, for us, one of the things, the vision of Wikipedia is a free encyclopedia for everyone. And so we normally, when we think about that, we don't include the cost of your internet access. That's kind of your responsibility. But when we think about reaching the poorest people in the world, you say, well, look, there is some questions of access, and how can we help with that access? So we've done a program called Wikipedia Zero, where we get the carriers to offer Wikipedia with no data charges. And that's been really very successful. It's a win-win for the carriers and us. It's controversial in some sectors because of net neutrality questions.
Which has really flared up in India recently with Facebook offering a zero version.
We've had less pushback than Facebook, just because everybody loves Wikipedia. So, nobody's terrified that Wikipedia is trying to do something bad. So, and I think Facebook's initiative is great. I'm not cynical about it. I think it's actually valid for people to not be sort of insanely against it, but to say, okay, well, it is Facebook, and it's a big company, and they've got business objectives. Let's keep an eye on it, right? If they do start doing things that aren't fair, we should raise hell. But they seem to be really trying to say it's an open platform and so forth. And they've made some changes in response to criticisms. And I think for big companies, that's what we hope they do. Is.
So you're generally in favour of Facebook offering the zero option in places like India?
Yeah, I think it's fine. Let's keep an eye on them.
Keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
We'll probably do that.
Seems likely.
I was at a session earlier today where there's actually a refugee camp in Davos, and a lot of people don't know this, a genuine one, which is somewhat ironic that you can go through a refugee's experience in the Congress, and yet down the road there are actual real refugees. And unfortunately, the way the local government operates is they don't allow them internet access in the camp.
Oh, that's terrible.
Which is a little bit like saying you can't have a toilet. Or do you think we'll ever get to the point where internet access should be really a human right?
I have very particular philosophical views about what counts as a human right or not. So I'm reluctant to go there, but as something that we expect to not be denied to anyone, as something that we expect to be reasonably affordable and so on, I think that's absolutely right. It's sort of like saying food is a human right in a certain sense, but we still expect you to buy it at the grocery store, except under certain circumstances and so on. So I think, I do.
There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Yeah, and no such thing as free lunch. And so actually, just on the refugee crisis, to name drop in the way that one must do in Davos.
Please go ahead.
Just saying to Queen Rania yesterday, because she's very active. Obviously, Jordan's taken in a huge number of refugees. Education for the refugees is, for me, it's like one of the most important things that we need to be really obsessed about. Because when you've got kids in a situation where they're disrupted, so if there's kids living in a refugee camp and they don't have access to Wikipedia, that's a massive problem for their schooling, for their education, etc. And it's super critical. Or else, when we go back and we say, what are we spending money on? Is it better to spend money on trying to spy on the entire population of the world? Or how about making sure these kids get an education? Because in 20 years' time, when, if you've got, not even 20 years' time, if you've got an 8-year-old today who's not getting an education, at 18, he's going to start shooting people, and that's just a fact. And we know that is very easily predictable.
Yeah.
That they will be very vulnerable to demagogues, to bad rhetoric and ideas. Somebody telling them that they're fighting for justice, and they know the fucking injustice their life has been so far. It sounds very plausible, as opposed to, it was amazing. I got out of Syria, and these wonderful people gave me an education, and I understand what happened in Syria. I know about politics, and I know what the world can be like, and technology, and I have job prospects and all that. It's so important.
You remind me of an amazing event during the Arab Spring in Egypt when someone put a camera on an 8-year-old, and at the end, and he explained what was going on incredibly well, and at the end the journalist said, "How do you know all this?" He said, "Oh, I read it on Wikipedia."
That's great.
It's been a 15-year ride with Wikipedia.
Yeah.
What's coming up in the next 15 years? That's a terrible question. Where do you see yourself in 15?
Yeah, well, I always
still doing it.
For me, I'm still doing it. It's truly, once you get your head around a free encyclopedia for every single person on the planet, and you see that we're getting there. It's my life's work. It's a complete obsession. What else can I do? I dabble in this and that. Lots of things are interesting, but really at the core, that's the main thing. For Wikipedia, I think the biggest changes that we're going to see are changes that most people won't notice, because will you really notice, when the Zulu Wikipedia hits 100,000 articles? Probably not, unless you see a news story about it. But it's going on right now. Sort of the growth of Wikipedia in the languages of the developing world is, for me, one of the most important things that's going on. In terms of what you will see, obviously, the editing interface we're working to update that, to modernize it. That's been a long, slow, and difficult process. We're in the classic kind of technology trap where we absolutely have to support our power users, They are quite conservative about the tools that they're using, i.e. they like it the way it is, and you don't want to disrupt that. You can't give them a visual editor that is less powerful than what they're used to. And yet we know it's very unwelcoming to newcomers, so we have to have a visual editor and we have to have 100% compatibility to the old system. We actually need to get to the point where even the power editors are going like, ooh, I'm switching to the new way because it's so much nicer.
What sort of timeline are you working on for that? When can we hear about it?
I mean, it's available now. You can use it, test it. I actually heard a story the other day about one of our, somebody I would consider a power user has switched to it voluntarily. She thinks it's better, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting because I haven't tried it in a while, and the last time I tried it, it sucked. So I'm going to give it a try. But it's a steady incremental process, and so in some sense it'll never be done. But in terms of I hope in the next 2 to 3 years, the vast majority of users will be on there.
Well, Jimmy Rails, thank you so much for coming to TechCrunch Davos Live, and we certainly look forward to Wikipedia going from strength to strength. So thanks very much for coming.
Yes, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Super. Great.